How to make more progress in the next 3 months than your last 3 years. The average person's ambition and dreams have been killed and exploited by modern day media. Instead of progressing toward our own goals, we watch those better than us achieve them. We daydream and fantasize while remaining stuck in this loop of building and destroying our lives. We are paralyzed and miserable. I've struggled with taking action my entire life, and I was overweight up until the age of 18 and stayed in my room the whole day watching videos on how to lose fat because at the time, that was my biggest goal. My mind was obsessed with the idea of getting abs and then attracting girls. So I found out the number of calories I should be eating, as well as the split that I should follow. I bought the food, the gym membership, and everything else I needed. And then 3 years later, nothing. Age 15 to 18 was tough. I had no friends, no girls. I was not dating, no confidence and no progress. And I dropped out at 15. So the barrier to entry to make friends was much higher, right? Because if you aren't in class and if you aren't around people constantly, it's tough. And I had this goal of getting into shape, but I would start a diet and then completely fall off it. But then it clicked. Well, something clicked, right? I got the abs, the confidence, and the women all in the span of around 8 months. I also moved to Thailand at 19 and was sleeping with a new guy every week. Yes, it's degenerate, but it was the goal and it was fun. And my problem wasn't knowledge, right? You may be thinking, okay, you learned something, and it wasn't that necessarily. My problem wasn't knowledge or even actionable tactics. It was my constrained identity that didn't want to let me go. I had the strategy but lacked the correct story and state. And here's the picture from me at 18 to me at 20. I wrote this last year, so I'm now 21 and I'm in even better shape. I think here I was benching like 100 for 1 and now I can do 100 for 5. Yeah. Crazy though. Imagine the difference in lifestyle, right? Let me drink some water. 1 second. I'm considering cutting these parts out, by the way, but I feel like it makes it more authentic. I feel like YouTube's problem is the lack of authenticity in this day and age, or this year, so I feel like that's something that I'm trying to bring. But anyway, on to the next bit. Why you stay consistent for 3 days and then procrastinate for a month? A tough pill to swallow is that we are all products of our environment. We are born into this world helpless, and the only way we know how to survive is to fit in. We follow the way our caregivers talk, walk, and act in the world, and we only know their way of life. As we branch out, we come into contact with kids and teachers at school. We are indoctrinated by the education system and follow it as strict law. If we decide not to, we are then shunned and shamed into submission. What happened in school if you didn't go along with the basic rules, right? You was going to get detention, you was going to be sent out of class, your parents were going to be called, and then on the playground, if you didn't follow the basic like way of behaving or dressing or whatever, kids would bully you, right? So we are literally shunned and shamed into being like everybody else. And in the 1800s, when America was industrializing and needed to educate large numbers of immigrant children, educators like Horace Mann traveled to Prussia to study and learn their methods. The Prussian education system was designed to create obedient soldiers, compliant citizens, civil servants, and well-behaved workers. And since you did not create this system that you were born into, it does not serve your interests, right? Since you do not fund the system, you do not control what is taught. Instead, you are plopped in front of a government-trained expert who is educated by government-trained experts. You were born, taught, and bred to lose. And it's no wonder entrepreneurship feels like eating glass and staring into the abyss, which is a quote from Elon Musk. So how do we actually solve this? Beliefs masquerading as truths. Your subconscious mind has taken from social, environmental, or authority consensus, direct experience, and imagined experiences to create a picture of reality that you can exist inside of. Otherwise, there would be far too many possibilities and ideas that our mind would simply shut off and would induce mania, right? We would literally go crazy if we didn't make sense of the world. And the way that we make sense of the world is with what people tell us, right? Social, environmental, or authority consensus or beliefs. Direct experience, so if we touch a stove and it's hot, we won't touch it again. And now we know, or we believe that stove is hot, even if sometimes it isn't. And imagined experiences, so we can be told things and then we can imagine it, right? And that can influence our behavior as well. But these beliefs you hold about reality aren't truths. They are simply ideas that you have gotten emotionally involved with. That's it. It's not a truth, it's just an idea that you have gotten emotionally involved with. I was raised to believe myself to be lazy and low value. I was picked on for my weight, so when it came to lose weight, it felt impossible because I was attempting to contradict the truth. I felt like an overweight kid, and I felt like that's who I was. I didn't feel like, okay, I'm overweight because I ate too many calories as a kid. That wasn't what I felt. I felt like that's just who I was, right? So when it came time to change that, it felt impossible. A belief I held was I'm lazy and don't like working out. So when I attempted to hit the gym, my identity came under fire and reacted viciously with unending negative emotion. So now we're going to talk about becoming a god over our reality. We don't achieve goals, we achieve an identity that manifests the goals we desire. The world you currently experience is filtered through your past. The future you expect to experience is filtered through your past. We do not experience reality, we experience ourselves. Reality is merely a mirror. Pay attention because this personal story will undoubtedly change your life. 1 second. Okay. If you are somebody who is looking to start online business, this will help a lot, okay? So after losing weight, the gym has become one of my favorite places to be. I train daily and love every second of it. I love how I look and how strong I am. I now hold the identity of an aesthetic, lean and strong man. But my new goal was to sign a client, right? I made a lot of progress with my physique and I want to make progress in business. So my new goal was to achieve financial freedom and be on my way to making so much money that I literally can't spend it. Not having it, and not having that goal caused me a lot of pain, right? Not like making money online caused me a lot of pain because I'd quit my job and I'm all in and I'm not making money. But yet I would spend 3 hours a day at the gym procrastinating on the business work, on the work that would quite literally change my life. Negative emotion. But why, right? And it was because of negative emotion, more specifically fear and shame. I held beliefs about my ability to do the work, which were created from past failures to do the work. Those initial failures were caused by beliefs impressed upon me as a kid. Even worse, I'd repeat that bone-shivering shame from not doing the work daily. Right? I was constantly in a state of guilt and shame from not doing the work. And I had this hell that was approaching me, or which was on my feet every single day, and that hell was getting a 9-to-5 job. That hell was being a product of my environment. That hell was all of those, like the people I've dated in the past doubting me about, oh, you're not going to be able to do this, like you're delusional. Them being right. I had lived all of these negative experiences maybe 3 times. Like I fucked up like maybe probably like more like 10 times, right? But the memory was looped in my mind thousands of times where I skipped the work. Now I was trapped in my identity and belief system. I was a victim to my mind. The possibility of never achieving my goals and proving my ex wrong. Not really wrong because she believed in me, but it just didn't work out. But there was a few that didn't believe in me, so fuck them. But the possibility of working a dead-end job and implanting my daughter with these same beliefs, like these fears crippled me, right? Imagine having kids and knowing that you have these bad beliefs and then implanting them with the same thing and seeing them go through the same struggle. Could never be me. So here we have belief, who I am becoming, which influences the action that you take, which influences reality that you experience. And then it's like, damn, if you experience this reality of like being lean, you're like, oh, I am a lean person who eats good. And then it reinforces the belief, and then you eat even healthier and train even more, and then you experience a better reality. And this is why people that are obese. They're fucking obese. But the people that are in shape are fucking lean and shredded and strong, and you know what I mean? It's like very few people are just in the middle. I mean, not in the middle. They're either mediocre or they're extremely fat, or they're mediocre or extremely in shape. But there's this little bit here which people are never really in. So now we're going to talk about fight or flight and then self-design. I'm trying to keep this as short as possible. But fight or flight. Success or failure is decided when those emotions flood your brain and body. You can either run or face it. But to even have the option is a luxury. Thought, emotion, and action. So here we have a thought, I need to work. I'd be at the gym, right? And my thought I would get while I'm like lifting weights or whatever would be, damn, I need to go home and do the work. The emotional reaction that I would get instantly would be shame and fear from my past experiences. I would literally relive, damn, but I always procrastinate, so let's just stay here. So then what was the action? Yeah, I would blast music and just stay in the gym. The past experience you hold is no more than a belief you hold. A belief is a repeated thought charged with emotion, or a single experience of extreme intense emotion. These often feed into each other with a cyclical nature. That's exactly what trauma is, right? Trauma is an emotional experience which has restructured your brain. When that belief is contradicted by a thought, it releases emotion. This is when most people turn to junk food. So let me try to explain this a bit better. I was at the gym and I was thinking, damn, I need to go do this work. And then I got this thought and I played these past experiences of me failing to do the work. So I had an emotional reaction. The reason that I had that emotional reaction was because I had the desire to do the work. But I contradicted the belief that I'm not able to. Do you understand? So my default conditioning was, I can't work. But I had the conscious desire to do the work. And because they clashed, this belief that I held about not being able to do the work released negative emotion to defend itself. And whenever people get that negative emotion, they go to junk food, alcohol, porn, music, their toxic ex, YouTube, social media. By the way, this is a fucking serious issue. Sex and get girls are a fucking problem. They are a distraction if you're not where you want to be right now, like genuinely. Yes, it feels cool because it's better than fucking like watching porn, but still, girls are going to distract your ass. And like, it's going to be bad because you're going to waste time. And you ain't going to achieve them goals that you set. But in that moment, that belief becomes your master and overlord. Overlord. Jesus, this writing is insane. By the way, I wrote this, but yeah. It is the throne of two things and two things only. So the way that you overcome this process is with two things, knowledge and awareness. The final analogy to send this home is my experience with wild dogs in Thailand. When a wild dog barks at you or runs at you, the worst thing you can do is run. If you run, they will all chase you and see you as dinner. What you have to do is you need to ignore or perhaps even walk towards them, right? You are asserting dominance over the dogs, right? And your identity works in the same way. Self-design. Once you gain control and awareness over your current identity and conditioning, The next step is to design a new identity. Now, I'm not even too sure if this last part really aligns with my new philosophy, quite frankly, but I'll read it anyway. DAO self-design is a lost art, now primarily used by high-profile public figures to command power. There's a saying that by the end of Elvis's career, he was playing the role of Elvis, referring to the icon Elvis Presley, of course. You can only achieve a new income in your business or a new body when you achieve a new identity. But what is identity? Yeah, I actually don't agree with this. Identity is a loaded term, which I don't really want to use. What we're going to use here is persona. The face that you show to the world, your persona, right? So right now, you don't know me, right? This person that you're watching right now, you don't know me. You may feel like you know me, but you don't. All you're seeing is the 20 minutes that I took out of my day and started recording, right, with my phone, and you're seeing this version of me. There's a whole other, 23 hours and, I'm sleeping, right? But there's a whole rest of the day that I'm arguably a different person. So this is a persona. Elvis Presley had a persona. The celebrities that you watch have a persona. And now the question, fuck all of these things here. The only question you need to ask is, does that persona serve me or not? When people look at me on the street, or when people interact with me, or when I record YouTube videos, or when I talk to girls, does that persona serve me? Does the girl see me as kind of shy and I struggle to initiate touch, or when I meet a new friend, does he see me as boring and not present, and all of those things, right? So you want a persona which serves you, but your persona is not you. And I actually don't believe identity is the cure to procrastination anymore. I believe systems and vision is. Vision meaning motivation, and systems meaning doing the fucking work, essentially. But yeah, I'm going to leave that there. If you want to work on one-to-one with me, book a call down below to solve procrastination, actually. And if not, then subscribe or don't. But I'm going to leave it there. Peace.